1960 World Series, people like Danny Murtaugh, Bill Mazeroski, and the coach. We're at Ditka's in Robinson. Time for the great Ted Arnaud and I, who you hear every Sunday on the Coons Market Black and Gold show at 45 past the hour, talking the National Football League. We're going to tee it up and talk some black and gold, as in your Pittsburgh Steelers, right now. Here he is, Mr. Ted Arnaud. And yes, it is a little early, but listen, fine wine and spirits, the best beer anywhere, including Iron City Beer and Icy Light, Pat McDonald, and the coach, Ditka's in Robinson. Cheers to those folks.
To the coach.
To the coach. Now, listen, I said we were going to tee it up, and earlier you had a wonderful luncheon with former Steeler kicker John Sweeson, and he is literally teeing it up with Under Armour. Tell me about it.
Sean invented this kicking tee that they can use at pro level, high school level, college level, and it basically aligns the football for different forms of kickoffs. So it's pretty cool. Under Armour is actually marketing this. It's in all of the Dick's stores right now. So Sean might be going big time after kicking for years in the NFL.
Well, listen, you know what Black and Gold did for us? It'll do the same for him. Available at one of your neighborhood Dick's sporting goods stores. Isn't it time that you get off the bench and get into the game? Okay, now, let's talk Sammy Coates. I got to tell you, Mr. Bryan is gone for the year, which I don't like to see, but it's happened, so it's time to move on. Antonio Brown's there, but he wants a new deal. But this Sammy Coates gives me hope that the Steelers are really not going to skip a beat. He has been very impressive off-season stuff, and now with camp just underway, giving Mike Tomlin a little breathing room. Let's talk about it.
Sammy did well in the little bit that he played last year. It's going to be hard to take Martavis Bryant's place. When they got him focused, if you remember, Ben had to have a psychological counseling meeting with Martavis during the year.
Little mano a mano.
He was ready to get playing, and he did. And so he's going to be big shoes to replace. But Sammy, I tell you what, when he played, he looked really good.
All right. Now, Jarvis Jones, what do you make of him? Next year, if he's there and he gets $8 million, they're going to have to decide whether or not they're going to use that option. A lot of hype, but he's just never lived up to it. What's up with Jarvis Jones?
I don't think he has the strength for that outside linebacker position. They compare him to James Harrison, who's almost a freak of nature, let's face it. Playing at the level that he's playing is because he keeps himself in perfect shape, works the weights. Jarvis Jones, tall, pretty quick, but just doesn't have the speed, I don't think, to try and do what James Harrison does. So if he doesn't have a lot of sacks this year and makes a big headway, I don't think he'll be wearing the black and gold next year.
So here's what you have to start thinking about. James Harrison's age. Lawrence Timmons is 30 years of age as of this past May. So you got to be a little bit concerned about that.
Well, you are concerned, and that's why they drafted defense in the draft. I think what's going to happen is they're going to start replacing those guys with some of the younger guys, and it doesn't matter. I mean, if he's not productive, you got to replace him sooner or later. And he's had his chance. I mean, he's really at the edge right now that if he doesn't have a big sack season, I don't think he's going to be here.
How about Ryan Shazier? They said in camp early on, he's flying to the football. Boy, that kid's got a lot of potential.
He's got speed, unbelievable. He's got the speed of a wide receiver in a linebacker's body. He's a little bit small, and if you'll notice, he's been hurt quite a bit. So he's got this small, speedy body playing that linebacker position. When he's healthy, he's unbelievable. But the hard part is going to be keeping him healthy because of his size.
All right, one more thing on the defensive side of the football. The future, Ricardo Matthews. This guy's making some noise as well, too. Wouldn't it be nice to see them get some young defensive help, especially on the front line, the defensive line, coming out of camp? Wouldn't that be something that they could really, I guess, wrap their arms around?
Well, it's not just something that would be nice. It's something that's going to happen.
You're right.
Because they have, Ben's got probably a finite number of years left, whether it be 2, 3, 4, whatever it is. They've really geared the team up for this season. Their defense really came on at the end of the season last year. So they're really in a position to make a real major move, I think.
Right.
Maybe Super Bowl type move. But if the defense doesn't come on strong, and if some of these younger players don't prove out, It's going to be they're in a season that if they don't get into the Super Bowl, it's going to be a disappointment.
Younger players, what do you make of Robert Golden?
Well, I think he's good, and I think this is the year he's going to have to prove himself. I think he's really good, but all these guys are going to have to step up and show themselves in this preseason period in order to get a starting position. And in order to make any real waves, they're going to have to start.
Ted Arnaud, we're at Ditka's in Robinson. Best steaks and chops, literally, you will find anywhere. Mouth-watering good. Pat McDonald, of course, also of Atria's fame, and they have the one, of course, at PNC Park. Speaking of that, I'll be talking to John Parado later tonight. Best baseball writer in America, I believe, USA Today, Baseball Prospectus, the Beaver Allegheny County Times will be at the Brighton Hot Dog Shop talking Bucko baseball, coming off all those trades. And now that the, second half of the season is underway, what lies ahead for our Pirates? That's later. Just a couple more things about Steelers. I want to go back on the offensive side of football. Le'Veon Bell. What does this really mean for this football team?
Well, it can mean good things because Le'Veon Bell may not be in a physical condition actually to play those first 4 games. I mean, you would rather have him available.
Right.
But I think, obviously, Williams played such a good role last year. I think he can move in. And if you can think of Le'Veon coming back after 4 games, when things are going to be settling down, you get this new fresh back who's really considered one of the best backs in the NFL. I mean, it's under bad circumstances, but it could have good results.
All right. Ramon Foster's back, new deal. David DeCastro's there last year of his current deal. Will he get a new deal? How important is David DeCastro?
Very important. He is one of the pivots of that entire offensive line. I think without a doubt he'll be one of the ones that
As Ben goes, the Steelers go, correct?
That's right.
All right. Any more thoughts about the Steelers? It's early. Before we talk a little high school football with your son, which I'm so happy and proud for him at Oak Glen. Tell me about Steelers. Anything else that kind of piques your interest?
Well, it's going to be Ben and Brown.
Oh, he's
and the two of them are almost inseparable. If you look at Antonio's production when Ben wasn't in, it really came down, and there were all kinds of reasons that they gave. The left-handed spin of Michael Vick, and Jones's passes weren't the same as Ben's. If Ben can stay healthy, Antonio Brown will have a huge year.
One thing about Steelers, I know he's got some time left, but the Steelers have always paid the money to the players as far as I'm concerned. You do a new deal with him now, or do you wait, Antonio?
I do a new deal with him. I mean, he is the benchmark. He's the Hines Ward of his era. You cannot let a player like that go. And let's face it, if Ben can get 2 or 3, 4 more years, which is not unheard of anymore, if you look at Peyton Manning, but Ben's had a lot of injuries. So let's say we can get 2 or 3 more years out of him. That's going to be an unbelievable combination for the future.
Hard to believe it's been 10 years since Mr. Rooney and Mr. Tomlin came to say hi on KDK when we were at the Dapper Dan broadcasting. He has, on a scale of 1 to 10, I give him an 8. I'd give him a 10, but he'd probably get upset because he'd say nobody's that good. But he's been a rock for this football team.
Do you remember when we did his very first interview in Pittsburgh? And we didn't know who he was. He certainly didn't know who we were.
I knew Mr. Rooney. That's all I
we
needed
knew
to know.
Mr. Rooney, but
right.
we didn't know him. And he was such a nice guy, and it's just been amazing to see him mature into this position to where now he's one of the has as much tenure as almost any of the other coaches in the NFL.
Great football coach. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Ted Arnaud. In just moments, we're heading over to the dining room to talk high school football. Oak Glen Golden Bears, his inaugural season, the new man in town. He is Ted Arnaud Jr. That's next from Ditka's in Robinson.